HTC 11 2017 release date, specs, price, news and rumors. All you need to know about the HTC 11. The HTC 11 is almost certainly less than a year away, so here's all we know about the HTC 11 release date, specs, and price, plus all the latest news and rumors. Update: March 30, 2017. Samsung has finally announced the Galaxy S8 smartphone, which means HTC now has a much better idea of what it's going up against. As expected, the Galaxy S8 launched with Qualcomm's latest Snapdragon 835 chip on board, and HTC's next flagship phone is expected to follow suit. Read on to find out more. The HTC 10 was a return to form for HTC, with an iconic design, slick Android skin and great audio quality. That's why we're already looking forward to what's coming next out of HTC HQ. But when it comes to HTC 11 rumors, things aren't quite as clear as we'd hoped, so we're largely in the dark for now. While some have suggested HTC will launch a new phablet, known as the Ocean Note, as its next big smartphone release, others say the HTC 11 will indeed be the new flagship device. Some rumors claim HTC will launch the Ocean Note along with two mid-range devices, while others have stated the Ocean Note will arrive alongside the HTC 11, known as the HTC Ocean. Throwing a spanner in the works, however, was an interview between Engadget and a senior HTC executive that revealed we won't see the HTC 11 this year. Chilian Chong, president of smartphone and connected devices at HTC, told the tech site that no phone will be called HTC 11 in 2017, instead, we're expecting a flagship under a different name entirely. Whatever the case, there's not long to wait until all is revealed. For the time being, read on for all the latest news, rumors and speculation on the HTC 11, HTC's flagship smartphone for 2017. Latest HTC 11 news: when does the HTC 11 come out? February-April 17. Likely. What's new about the HTC 11? Is the 835 chip, Android Nougat? How much will the HTC 11 cost? £550 plus estimate. HTC 11 release date UK and US. When will the HTC 11 come out? We can give a specific HTC 11 release date just yet, simply because no one has leaked it yet. But we can look at the history of previous HTC flagship releases, which run as follows: HTC 10, April 12, 2016. HTC 1m9, March 1, 2015. HTC 1m8, March 25, 2014. HTC 1m7, February 19, 2013. So there's a clear pattern of HTC launching top-end phones in the first two quarters of the year, with March being a clear favorite. In 2015, HTC used Barcelona's Mobile World Congress technology trade show to launch the HTC 1m9, but skipped over the conference last year. However, despite MWC 2017 being the perfect venue for a phone launch, HTC didn't launch its next flagship at the February 2017 event. Speaking to T-Break, Chilian Chong, HTC's president of smartphones and connected devices, explained that the company is having to wait for the right components before debuting the new handset. Every time there is a brand new CPU with power that we can leverage, we're always at the forefront doing that, he explained. Some people are talking about the timing, but timing was determined 9 months ago. The Snapdragon 821 inside the HTC Ultra U is the best CPU out there. When the next flagship CPU comes, HTC will be one of the very first tier doing that. When we will look back, it will be clear why HTC introduced the Ultra phones. We want to have a couple of months of leadership before the next flagship CPU comes, he continued, adding, but that will be another period of time, not at MWC. Not for us or any other player, I can't tell you that for sure. When the new CPU comes, HTC will have another flagship. HTC 11 features. What's new about the HTC 11? As usual, we're expecting some significant hardware and software upgrades for HTC's 2017 flagship. The latest leak suggests the following specs: 5.5-inch screen QHD display resolution, Qualcomm Snapdragon 835 processor, quick charge, 4.08 GB RAM, 256 GB storage, 12 megapixel dual primary camera, 8 megapixel selfie camera, 3700 mAh battery. The following image was also posted in the same leak. Image, http://static.trustedreviews.com/94/00003C26E/042/HTC18.jpg. However, that leak comes courtesy of China's Weibo microblogging platform, so we're going to suggest taking it with due caution for now. Here's what we reckon we'll see from the HTC 11. HTC 11 screen, design and camera. The main rumor regards a handset called HTC Ocean, which was leaked as a concept by a HTC designer. It included a feature called Sense Touch that allowed users to perform functions by swiping or tapping the edge. Most interestingly, prolific tipster Evan Blast claims his source says the HTC Ocean is very real. No source, Ocean is real and alive. https://twitter.com/000/status/788,681,609,986. The only other leak we've seen so far comes via Weibo, with a leaker suggesting we'll see the HTC 11 featuring a 5.5-inch display with a fairly standard QHD resolution. That's 1440 x 2560 pixels. That's the same resolution used for the HTC 10, although that phone had a smaller 5.2-inch display and thus would have a higher 565 ppi pixel density. The leak also suggested we'd see a 12-megapixel camera on the rear of the device, with a secondary 8-megapixel camera handling selfies on the front. That's not really an improvement as far as the primary camera goes, although we're guessing the imaging technology would be improved. Perhaps a dual module would be introduced a la the iPhone 7 Plus. The good news is that the 8-megapixel selfie snapper is a step up over the 5-megapixel shooter featured on the HTC 10. We can also take a guess and say with some degree of certainty that the Snapdragon 835 system-on-a-chip social will feature in the HTC 11. It's Qualcomm's newest and most powerful smartphone chip, and has yet to appear in any available handsets. However, it's expected that the chip will power a raft of smartphones that are set to go on sale in the first half of 2017, the new Galaxy S8 included. Image, http://static.trustedreviews.com/94/00003C1F1/2D78/HTC 11 HTC has a history of using Qualcomm fare. The HTC 10 ran on Qualcomm's Snapdragon 820 chip, for instance. So it would be entirely unsurprising if the Snapdragon 835 featured in the HTC 11, particularly as it's a brand new chip. What's special about the SD835 is that it's built on a 10nm manufacturing process, which is far more efficient than the 14nm process used for the SD820. This means we'd expect to see more power or better power efficiency from the SD835. Qualcomm claims improvements of 27% for the former and 40% for the latter. The chip also features Qualcomm's new Quick Charge 4.0 technology, which should see charging times decrease by 20% compared to the old Quick Charge 3.0. With all these improvements in mind, we'd be very surprised if the HTC 11 shipped with anything other than a Snapdragon 835 on board. It's worth noting that a recently leaked screenshot via China suggested that the Huawei P10 would carry the Snapdragon 835, so that's good news. HTC 11 software, Android 7.0 or Android 8.0. It's very likely that the HTC 11 will run on Android 7.0 Nougat. After all, the HTC 10 is already running on Nougat, despite launching with Android 6.0 Marshmallow on board. Google announced Nougat in March last year, releasing it in late summer. It added split-screen apps, support for the Vulkan graphics API, and seamless system updates. We gave Android 7.0 Nougat a 4/5 score in our review, praising its richer drop-down menu, impressive gaming power as a result of Vulkan support, and long-awaited app multitasking interactions. Here's our verdict. Android 7.0 Nougat is actually a more dramatic change than it at first appears. On the surface, it looks like Google has simply adopted its own versions of features we've seen before, such as multi-window multitasking and customizable drop-down feature toggles. Image, http://static.trustedreviews.com/94/00033C1F6/8FFF/HTC16.jpg HTC1111. It continues, however, there's been some important behind-the-scenes progress. The Vulkan API is good news for the future of high-end Android games, if developers find a way to tear themselves away from free-to-play casual projects. And the first steps in multitasking that involves two apps directly communicating with one another is exciting, even if its uses right now are limited. The alternative would be the HTC 11 running on Android 8.0, although we'd say that's unlikely. Google probably won't have announced the new version of Android by the time the HTC 11 launches, and even if it has, it almost certainly won't appear on third-party handsets for many months after the reveal. HTC 11 price. Unfortunately, price leaks are very rare, so we probably won't know the cost of the handset until it goes on sale. But just like the release date, we can take a good guess at how much the HTC 11 will cost by looking back at the pricing history for previous flagship HTC phones. HTC 10, £569.99. HTC 1 meter 9, £580. HTC 1 meter 8, £529.99. HTC 1 meter 7, £549.99. What's clear is that top-end HTC smartphones don't come cheap, but there's also a trend of the company selling phones between £500 and £600. We reckon it'll be closer to the top end of that pricing window in 2017, unless the price of the pound rises to pre-June 2016 levels. Image http://static.trustedreviews.com/94/00033C1F5/E28E/HTC15.jpg HTC 11. Should you wait for the HTC 11? It's hard to recommend waiting for the HTC 11, because we've got no idea if the phone will be good or not. HTC has a mixed track record when it comes to flagships, but we're hoping to be impressed. Unfortunately, with such a dearth of leaks right now, we can't honestly say you should wait for the new HTC 11 unless you're an ardent HTC loyalist. But don't forget that there are plenty of other phones that will be vying for your cash this year too, including the recently announced LG G6 and Samsung Galaxy S8. These will almost certainly eventually be followed by the OnePlus 4, the iPhone 8, and the Galaxy Note 8. And there are a whole host of great phones you could currently buy too, including the Samsung Galaxy S7, our phone of the year for 2016. We're also happy to recommend the new Google Pixel and the even newer OnePlus 3T. Read more at http://www.trustedreviews.com/news/HTC 11 release date specs 2017 price UK news rumors number 6 WBDG RSFK 7 COBT EE.99